I didn't want Fred to have it.
No, you don't want to do it.
And like, give me the $5.
Good evening, residents of Habitat Grace. Welcome to the OPAC Candidate Forum for 2026 for City Council elections. I'm David Jaffe. I will be the moderator, as in years past. My lovely wife Brenda, sitting right here, is the dreaded timekeeper. We are part of OPAC, the Ontario Otsego Positive Action Committee, a neighborhood association in the northern part of town, as many of you know. And this is maybe the 22nd or 23rd year that we have held this candidate forum. This forum is being broadcast live on the Habitat Grace City website, www.habitgracemaryland.gov, and on the city's YouTube channel, where it will remain available throughout the election for citizen viewing. At this point, I'd like to ask you all to please silence your phones, as that can be very disruptive. This year we have 6 candidates. We have 3 positions that these candidates are running for. If you are on the OPAC mailing list, you were asked to forward your questions ahead of time, and a number of you did. In fact, so many of you did that I have a packet here of 20 pages with 130 questions this year. This was the most challenging year for Brenda and myself to sort through and do this. So what that means is that many of you who wrote won't have your questions asked, but please understand that we do our best to synthesize and collate in such a way that the questions that we do choose reflect broader issues at large. You may hear pieces of your question in something that we asked today. Another thing that will be a little different this year is that since the Habitat Grace Chamber forum was just last week here, we are also trying to be sensitive to not doing the same questions that they did and trying to cover broader areas. So you're welcome to answer as you did last week, but you'll have opportunities to hear more of yourselves. Candidates will have 2 minutes for the opening statement and 2 minutes for a closing statement, and then 1 minute to answer each question in between. As before, you've all been up on this DS before, so you know how we do this. You are not required to use the whole time when answering, and as always, we offer extra points for brevity. The quicker we move along here, the more varied questions we can address, and I do have plenty of backups here, as you can imagine. Please do speak into the mics, as I reminded you also earlier, so that everybody can hear. Brenda will be keeping time. Candidates will hear a horn sound from her phone, and then a bell at the end of the minute. When you hear that, please stop talking. You can pick up any additional comments your next time around if you so choose, or in your closing statement. The rotation will be staggered alphabetical. First, we'll start with Casey here, and we'll move down the row. And as we have in years past, the next question, Liz will start, following question, Dave will start, et cetera, et cetera. When the candidate before you completes your answer or the bell is sounded, whichever comes first, please, candidates, feel free to just jump in and start your answer. You don't have to wait for me. The details of these questions are generally not vetted. I've done my best to be accurate, but candidates, please set the record straight as you see fit if you hear any inaccuracies. And now we will begin. It's okay with everybody up here if I call you by your first names, right? So that's easier for my brain. Casey, please start us off with opening statements.
Thank you. Good evening. First, I want to express my appreciation to Dr. Jaffe and his lovely wife, Brenda. I appreciate your dedication and your continued support of this forum on behalf of our community. Thank you. As Dr. Jaffe said, my name is Casey Boyer. I'm a graduate of Ursinus College, and Johns Hopkins University with more than 30 years of experience in program management, strategic communications, and command information. I work for the U.S. Army as an HR specialist, and after 5 years of managing the Army's partnership with the PTAC program, I'm now managing CCOM's performance management portfolio. I came to Havre de Grace with my daughter in 2014 and quickly became involved in local initiatives, starting with the Warrior Proud effort to advocate for our new middle and high school. That led to an appointment to City Council, and now I'm honored to be completing my 8th year on City Council. I've served as a liaison to the Green Team, the Tree Commission, Street and Traffic Advisory Board, Economic Advisory Board, and the Cultural Exchange Commission, and I currently serve on the Harford County Planning Commission. Outside of work and council duties, I'm an active volunteer. I co-chair the Community Projects Thanksgiving Dinner Committee, and I've worked with an extraordinary team of volunteers to deliver over 1,300 meals on Thanksgiving Day. If re-elected, I will stay focused on 3 priorities: public safety, a strong community, and reliable infrastructure. That means continuing to push for improvements on Otsego and Route 40 intersection, advancing practical neighborhood safety needs like sidewalks along Chapel Road, and tackling infrastructure projects proactively so we fix what needs fixing and plan responsibly for our future. I'm running to keep Havre de Grace safe, strong, and moving forward, and I would be honored to earn your vote. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to tonight's questions. Thank you.
Good evening, Havre de Grace. I want to start by thanking my wife and my 4 boys for their unwavering support. I also want to thank Dr. Jaffe and his beautiful wife, Brenda, and the Star Center for hosting us tonight. Most of you may know me from our local youth programs or my duties at APG as a cybersecurity specialist. But in reality, my leadership foundation was built as a U.S. Army combat veteran while serving in the Iraqi war. In that environment, I learned that leadership is a direct responsibility for the people standing next to you. I'm running for City Council because I believe our government owes that same mission-focused responsibility to every citizen. A city is only as strong as its connections. Whether you're a legacy resident concerned with the cost of living, or a new homeowner in a neighborhood like Greenway Farms concerned with safety, you deserve an accessible representative who acts as a direct conduit for your concerns and your voice. To lead Havre de Grace forward, we must prioritize transparency, especially regarding things such as the Amtrak project, which will be a huge impact, positive and maybe a little negative, on our community. We must also maintain the momentum of our downtown revitalization project, ensuring our local businesses have the partnership they need to thrive through every stage of this. My career in managing complex risk framework has taught me how to bridge technical problems with people-first solutions. I've applied these skills on local boards and committees, and tonight I'm asking for your trust to apply them in our city. I'm here to build a partnership of generations, protecting the history of our legacy residents have built while securing a vibrant future for our youth. Tonight, I'm not just asking for your vote, I'm asking for the trust to be your voice. Let's move Havre de Grace forward together. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Dave Glenn, and I am excited for the opportunity to run for a seat on the Havre de Grace City Council. I've been a resident of Havre de Grace since 1967, and I'm a proud graduate of Havre de Grace High School. I received my bachelor's from Cal State University and my master's degree from Central Michigan. I'm married to the former Terry Cully and have 2 children, Kelly and Sean, and 2 grandchildren, Jordan and Harper. I retired from APG as a supervisory management analyst after 37 years of service. Worked a myriad of tough issues and at times had to address challenges at the Pentagon. I had overall responsibility for the manpower program for the U.S. Army Test and Evaluation Command, the premier testing organization within the Department of Defense, ensuring our soldiers would have the right capabilities for success on the battlefield. During my career, I was a 2-time gold winner of the Excellence in Federal Career Award Program. I live by the Havre de Grace motto, enter to learn and leave to serve. And because of our tireless commitment to our community, in the year 2000, my family was selected as the Harford County Volunteer Family of the Year. I have earned Scouting's highest honor, Eagle Scout. I'm a member of the Masonic Lodge, the Sons of American Legion, the Elks Lodge, and the Happy Grace United Methodist Church, all of which give back to the community. I served on the city council from 2012 to 2022, 5 times as council president, and spearheaded a replacement school for the students of Happy Grace, which at the time was not on anybody's radar screen. Our kids will be the benefactors for years to come. Bottom line, it would be my distinct honor to serve once again in the city that I am so proud to call home.
Thank you, Dr. Jaffe. Thank you, fellow candidates, and thank you, citizens, for your engagement. I'm George Kaznick. My wife Don and I have lived on Green Street for 17 years. I have a history of service to the community. I would like to continue to serve you and Havertide Grace. My service to the city includes as a member of the Water and Sewer Commission and as the vice chair of the Havertide Grace Public Housing Authority, Somerset Manor. In my service to the country, I was a U.S. Army captain, a contractor in Iraq, and I currently serve on our region's selective service board. I'm a 7th grade social studies teacher at Edgewood Middle School and a building representative for my union. I hold a Bachelor of Science degree in economics from the University of Delaware, a master's degree in education leadership from Notre Dame, University of Maryland, and I'm a national board certified teacher. I'm a proud member of American Legion Post 47, Havertide Grace, the Society of the 1st Infantry Division, and the Harford County NAACP. Havertide Grace has some pivotal decisions to make in the next year. Amtrak revitalization will bring disruption to our town, but will also bring opportunity. Upwards of $7 million are anticipated with this construction. Our businesses will be challenged by this, but this will also bring workers with money to spend looking for goods and services. The anticipated $7 million infusion will set the trajectory for our town for the next decade and beyond. We have a downtown revitalization to complete. We need to grow our city for our residents and for our businesses while preserving who we are and protecting the environment. Your concerns should drive our responses as council members. Not only will I hear your voices and concerns, but I will work to resolve them. As a former officer, I'm mission focused, and the mission of local government is to answer citizens' needs. I look forward to using my skills and experience in the service of Havertide Grace. Thank you.
Good evening. As a homeowner and active volunteer in the community, I, Tammy Lynn Shanegas, bring many years of previous experience serving the public, including Girl Scouts leadership, Green Team Food Pantry liaison, Legion Auxiliary Post 47 Vice President and Membership Chair, Arts Commission member, Seroptimus participant, Oktoberfest associate, Celebrate the 4th Parade Marshal and Hospitality hostess, Running Festival Awards team member, Bra Alley mural assistant, National Anthem singer, and have adopted my block in service to the Cat Club. I am a current member of the Twinning Association, Legion Auxiliary Post 47, and the VFW Auxiliary Post 8126. With 39 years of teaching experience, I currently work at the middle school level educating students with special needs. My education includes a master's degree in special education, a bachelor's degree in English and child development, and hold several Maryland teaching certifications. In addition, I have earned a certificate in local governance from the Maryland Municipal League. These past 4 years on City Council, I have served as council liaison to the Board of Appeals and spent 2 years on the Planning Commission working with zoning ordinances and the 2025 Comprehensive Plan. My current service includes council liaison to the Marina and Independence Day Commissions. My decision to run for re-election stems from interacting with citizens as we celebrate our city and to help with solution-oriented concerns. My experience on council serves as an opportunity to mentor incoming council members and to work with my colleagues and administration to develop ordinances that support the best interests of our community. As your elected official, I will take this knowledge and continue to serve as a voice for our citizens.
Good evening, folks. Thank you, Dr. Jaffe and Brenda. Candidates, you are well-educated and known. My name is Kirk Smith. I come from a little town in the middle of Michigan, Mitten, called Ovid. Population 918 people, 9,200 dairy cows. Life wasn't easy. There was no way to get ahead. You either worked on a dairy farm and you worked hard, which pretty much anybody did anyways, or you left. So I decided to join the Navy in 1981. I've been around the world 167 times. Fun fact, yes, 165 of them were at the North Pole, but they still count. I had 2 eyes, 2 ears, and 1 mouth, so I promise to listen, watch, twice as much as I speak. I'm going to address something that may be a little bit intense for some folks, but I've seen this, and I'm sure everybody else has seen it. You may not be able to put a finger on it, but there's a growing unease and a lack of faith in federal, state, and regional governments. But the deficit grows larger every day. That's not here. Local government has the biggest impact on your daily life. All of these people want for us, this city and its residents, to be better. To do that, though, we had to be more prepared, more resilient, and provide fiscal sustainability from the top down and bottom up. This city has invested and gotten grants and runs pretty much, is going to be running all of these lights here, audio, electric, often solar power. It's time that our residents get some of that back. For those that actually register their solar systems, if I'm elected, and even if I'm not, I'm going to push for this. I'm going to see what I can do to talk everybody into giving us a mill or a percentage off our property taxes for those who do. I'm talking everything from a roof-mounted solar, got 18 kilowatts, down to this. Did I stop in time?
You did, thank you, Kurt.
Wow,
Look
nice.
forward to hearing the end of that sentence. All right, let's move into questions now. These are 1-minute answers, just to remind candidates. And we're going to start with Liz, moving down, and then Casey, you'll have the final say on this one. What lessons do you take from the recent revitalization project in downtown Havoc Grace? If the process started again, what would you do the same, and what would you do differently?
Oh, I love this question. Okay, I'm very excited for this one. Thank you. Transparency is what I would do better. I think that the downtown project is done amazing. It's beautiful. We have some unique aspects of it. The planning and the mayor and city council that worked with that, all the administration did a great job picking out stones in the road and the view of it. I think it's great. Do think we need a little bit more parking. But I believe the biggest thing would be transparency. If there was more communication on some of the roadblocks that were hit, if there was more communication or transparency with the businesses, maybe setting up more regular sit downs with them to understand their struggles and see if there is an option that the city could help with. Thank you.
I've always said that nobody is as smart as all of us. And one of the things the city did in regards to the downtown renovation is they asked for input. We got input from the business owners, we got input from residents. They took all of that collectively and tried to put a plan together that would serve the needs of everyone. And I think that was a smart thing to do because it just wasn't like, I'm gonna do it my way. They asked for input, and it was valuable input across the board. I agree that, with parking, we maybe need a little bit more parking, but I tell you what, it's been a win-win situation for the city because if you look at downtown Havoc Grace, on the weekends now, it's crowded, packed. So it's brought people to our own hometown, and I think it's a win-win for the whole community.
Thank you for the question. I think a big part of this is communication. Communication is two ways, both from government to the citizens and from citizens to the government. I would expect that we would form a task force of planning and zoning committees, and then also have commissions with business owners, with citizens. We have many citizens in this town who are experts in their field, and we should leverage that with a mission to identify shortfalls and improve the city's response to concerns before they become permanent. The city website needs to be improved so we can access with a minimum number of clicks where we are, where we're going, what the goals are. We should focus both on mitigating the disruption, but we also need to be planning for the outcomes now. We're not just fighting for disruption, but we're planning for a goal. Thank you.
As our city has undergone the major downtown revitalization project, what we would do over again as we go into phase two, utilize our gift of financial resources. We were blessed with a gift from ARPA funds. And as Amtrak's coming in, they were promising to and will uphold to helping fix our second phase as they take some of the property they are going to give back and help us continue. So that's utilizing our resources. I think that restructuring parking, as we did on Congress, we opened up a little extra diagonal parking, and that's gone well. And the parking that's there now has been utilized well. And third, utilizing the trolley and our downtown group, our tourism and economic development team that organized our events with Fridays, First Fridays, to help organize that.
Thanks, Amy. One of the things I'd like to keep in phase two are the tree boxes to help isolate trees, their root systems from all of our electrical and utilities. I understand that we should probably hold more town halls, actually meet with business leaders and concerned citizens. This is where the small business administrator that I mentioned last week comes into play. They can coordinate all this. By building up our brick and mortar organizations, we can make this town more resilient and to be able to stand on our own better.
Jason?
So for me, what I thought went really well, and it was the first time that we used it, and we've applied it one other time, is the use of the charrettes. When we all came together and communicated, explained what we thought was important to be part of the project, what were our priorities, what our vision together for what we saw the downtown to be, that was during the charrette process. And when you take a step back now and you think about what all we were communicating and then what we got what we asked for. We got the wider streets. It was, it's accessible so that people in wheelchairs can get by. And the charrette process worked great, and it was applied again for the hospital property. And again, you know, we're getting exactly what the community asked for. And I think applying that experience over and over again for other places where we see challenges within our community is important, because it's a forum for us to discuss. And that's what I would change. I don't feel that we have enough resources to get the tools going for communication. We don't have a newspaper that really is functional for us. So things like we used to have the Citizen Connection, using something like that. And just getting all of the information, getting it trickled down to the very bottom.
Thank you. Dave, we're starting with you on this one, and I just have, not to call out Casey, but if we try to, okay, maybe we need to hear a louder ding here so that we can keep rolling. So this is a budget question, a two-parter. Dave, if an additional $500,000 became available unexpectedly in the city budget, what would you advocate to spend it on? And similarly, if there was an unexpected deficit of $500,000 in the budget, where would you pull from city expenses to balance the budget?
Good question. If we had 500,000, one of the things that we're trying to do is to bring the cost down for operating the Star Center. And more importantly, the cost down for the youth to operate and use the Star Center, it's pretty costly. So one of the things that I would say is try to use that in such a way that it wouldn't be as costly for our youth to participate in activities. If I had to cut the budget, I don't know. It's, you know, being off the council for 4 years, I'd have to take a hard look at that. But one of the things is professional services across the board. Maybe we could take a look at, you know, we contract out for certain things, and maybe we could bring that down in a small way.
Thank you.
Thank you. So for an additional 500,000, two initiatives that I think would really help. At the Chamber of Commerce, we talked about drawing neighborhoods together. I think we have an opportunity we could test pilot a hop-on, hop-off circulator that would go to our outlying communities, Greenway Farms, Bully Rock, Grace Harbor, and maybe a 15-passenger van like the senior homes have, and see how that works and if it's supported by usage. I also would invest in the city website to make it more user-friendly so that also makes people feel better attached to the community because they can find out what's going on here and what our initiatives are. For a cut, that's a tough question, and I haven't thought about it a lot. We have $213,000 in community support. That is probably the first that people would look at, but I would try to not affect that. We just invested in Evergrace Public School Museum, we invested in the decoy, we invested in the lighthouse. I agree with David about professional services, and we do need to look at what's contracted out and see if that can be done in-house with man-hours already have.
If our city was awarded an additional $500,000, I think it would be great to create an outdoor sports venue that would include a skate park and a grassy area for playing volleyball or other outdoor sports just for fun, and to have a trail around the outside to give bicycle riders, youthful bicycle riders, or anyone that wants to just come out and have an opportunity to ride their bike, but a place that's safe for children, adults, and intergenerational groups to come together and spend time. And if we were to have a deficit, how I think a great way to lower our costs would be to bring our lawn services back into our DPW having to take care of the lawn maintenance. And as right now it is, we have a lawn service that takes care of it, JD, and I think that they do a great job, but that would just be one way that it wouldn't hurt and it would help keep our costs as we have them. Thank you.
500K, two more elementary SROs, school resource officers, straight up. We need to fill those positions. There's still some crazies and some others out there that want to make a name for themselves. Also, on a smaller scale, I would make sure that the police department has the necessary and effective street festival security barriers. We need to be able to block off the streets just in case. We've already talked this over with the chief a couple of times. We've ID'd some, but they're a little costly. I'm assuming we're talking about the 2027 budget, which I've reviewed. The mayor has graciously provided $1.05 million in paving and curbside curbs and maintenance. We lose 500K, we cut that in half. Problem solved.
So if we're on the plus side, I would really focus on infrastructure projects. It's not like our infrastructure projects go away. There's basically, to use a government term, a one-to-end list. Like if you were gonna have 100 projects, what is the most important one and list them all the way down to the lowest one? I would try to cut down on that budget, on those, spend the money now, because money now doesn't cost as much as money in the future. And by doing so, hopefully the next year, then we could identify a way to have a little bit of a tax decrease in doing so, maybe in our property taxes. It's constantly expanding. At some point, we probably don't need to spend as much money. If we didn't have enough money in this next year, if we needed to take things back, the easy things to take back is, that we have a 200K stage. While that's a nice to have, but we've lived without it, and we could probably get away with not having that. Cutting down on professional services is an obvious one. There's a lot of fluff in that budget as well, and there's a lot of fluff in the marketing budget, I think, as well. I think between all of that, we could probably get under the 500K. Thank you.
Okay, so if we were in the plus, actually I want to start with the negative. I want to go with the negative first and end on the positive. We're in the negative. I would go back to the budget. I would look at some of where we gave, some increases to maybe some of the groups to that nature for this year. The way I understood the question was it was a one-time hit of 500,000. So that would be a one time that they didn't get that and then they would get it the next year. So I think that would help us get quite a bit. And then I did notice that the marketing budget is significantly higher, and I think that that would be a good place to start at as well. For the positive, I think huge partnership with the youth. I think the youth around here deserve a little bit more than what they've been given so far. I also think if we had a one-time increase, maybe some supplies or resources for public safety, whether that be the fire department, the police, any of that. I also would like to piggyback on what George said. I think that a hop on and hop off bus that would go to the outer parts of our city and bring them downtown to our walkable city would be a huge plus. I know living on the hill, it's hard to get down there, other than driving. And then if parking is an issue, then you have that battle. I do think that our museums could use a little bit more money as well.
Thank you, everyone. Now we're going to start with George. Dave Glenn mentioned youth in his last answer, and I'd like to pick up on that. What ideas do you have for creating more safe and positive spaces and programs for teens to gather, learn, and grow?
That's a great question. It reminds me, I was talking to Peter on Chesapeake Drive yesterday, and he asked us that very question. So one place we can help with youth is right here. We can partner with Harford County Public Schools to bring in things like its academic year and for our youth from the county here. But for our youth also, we should have incentives for our youth to use our facilities here, the Star Center, the Opera House, and make it easier economically on those groups to participate if they're from the city. We should still be drawing from outside too, but we should leverage the money we're getting from outside groups to make it easier for groups who live in this town to participate, youth groups to participate in these events.
As mentioned in my previous answer, I am definitely for outdoor sports, getting our youth off of their screens and into the fresh air, seasonal permitting, of course, and have a space for them to do different activities. Not everybody's into organized sports, but kids like to play Frisbee, kids like to go out and enjoy time at the parks, spend time with friends. So just having a place to go, whether it would be like a skate park or a place that had grass where kids can just go out and play and set up lawn games, etc. Just a little extra space that's devoted to youth, but also with a care and supervision of their families, because we want to make sure that they're safe and, using their time wisely. In addition to that, I think with Harmerstown opening up its phase 2, we're going to have some room for artists to be teaching our youth how to get involved with the arts. And I think that's a great way to utilize their talents and the things that they like to get involved with. Thank you.
Internships, because you mentioned teens, Dr. Jaffe. We currently had one open up for the city. We're working alongside the Bay, and I think that's incredible. I think there's other city works programs that we could have internships for. Let's call it OJT, on the job training. Get you ready for what's coming as an adult, at least. Lastly, I want to say that I disagree that we need to cut campaigns, fluff, okay? We need more shop local campaigns. We've done some in the past that are just incredible. There was a jingle about enjoy your time and having grace. That's what we need from that fund. More sustainable help from the government for local businesses.
So I'm going to go back to the charrette thing. We as adults have all these great ideas that we think the kids would really like. But we need to stop. We need to ask the kids and get them involved and ask, okay, what do you want? What do you need? What's interesting to you? Now, whether it be internships, there's lots of opportunities within our community with the businesses, et cetera. How do we create those? Or do they want more recreational space? Hopefully, we'll be able to update McElhaney Park in just a little bit. There's lots of ways that we can get them involved, but we need to first start by asking students, like, what's of interest to you? And then how do we help you? How do we, your community, help you be successful? Whether it be in recreational sports or academic achievement or the arts, there's so many opportunities, and we are a community that whenever asked, we figure out a way to make it happen. But we first have to ask. Thank you.
So I love this question. I love the children. And piggybacking off of what Casey said, having children of my own and being very integrated in the schools, I have asked what they would like to see. I actually talked to my kid earlier today about something he thought would be cool being a child in the city, and he said he wants to play basketball against the city council. So doing things like a tournament or we have all the resources here to host a tournament or to host a basketball game. Hey, high school basketball team, come out and play against your city representatives. Come out and play against your city administration. Maybe it's a lacrosse game. Maybe it's pickleball. Maybe it's any of that. But we have the ability to do that. Other things, I know from my being inside the schools, we have a lot of kids here that are very interested in politics. Why are they not coming to these things? Why are they not interested in this? Why do we not have somebody who is young and vibrant wanting to go out for city council? Why don't we hold debates? We could do debates here. I mean, they could be sitting up here in the hot seat and getting that experience. One of the other things that I'm big on is the history here and having degrees. Why can we not build a program that incorporates our history? Anybody that has kids that have been through school or grandkids recently would know the Patriot program that's stateside history. Why do we not have one for Havre de Grace? And we're recognizing these kids at a city council meeting, and then they're excited to come out and do it, and they're learning specifically about our city and our history here.
As a longtime Little League coach at Havre de Grace, I'm big time in favor of cost-effective measures for youth sports. Making it affordable for kids to play because you get the exercise and it's just a positive thing for them. We have an ADA playground. One of the questions I had, and I got to get to bear on this, have we looked at all the equipment on the playground and see if some of the equipment needs to be replaced? Or see if we could upscale and add something else. So that's another positive thing. But the one thing that I want, not every kid gets an opportunity to go to Dutch Wonderland or King's Dominion or Hershey Park. If you've ever been to Dutch Wonderland, they have a big concrete pad and they have little holes to shoot water up. Those kids can use that in the summertime to cool down. On those hot days, they can cool down. I mean, water shouldn't be a problem because we live right by the water, so making that happen. But if you can find a place for kids to just enjoy that, cool down. I mean, it's tough, getting a swimming pool because of the liability thing, but maybe something like that would be something that was worth consideration. So.
Thank you. This is kind of a split question. This is just for non-incumbents, and so we're going to start with Kirk and then Liz and then George. What committees or commissions have you worked on to prepare to be on council?
I was the president of the Havre de Grace Green Team, installed the Bakery Gardens, provides food for all the local pantries. Let's see, I work on the Tree Commission because I am the laureate.
Thank you, Kirk. Liz?
Sorry, I was trying to write them down. The Independence Day Commission, come out to the 4th of July parade. It's going to be amazing this year. Best parade ever. The Youth Commission I've been on, I'm also part of the Parks and Rec board. I'm president of the basketball program and the, is it just these? Is the question just for the city stuff? Or the Thanksgiving Day dinner? I think that's it.
Thank you, George.
Yes, so after the last
Election, I decided I need to improve my knowledge of the workings of city government. I asked to be appointed to the Water and Sewer. Councilman Ringsaker was generous enough to appoint me to that. I've learned from the brilliant men on that commission about the ins and outs of water and sewer. Dan Masinic's there would cost us 6 figures, and so would the other 2 each if we actually had to hire them. So that's leveraging our town. I was asked by the mayor to be the vice president to serve on the Howard Grace Public Housing Authority, and I was chosen vice chair by my peers, and we had to restore fiscal responsibility there. We had to clean out management, bring in new management, and we had to get the citizens living there the services they need. And working with Michelle Ball, Sharon Jacobs, Dawn Novak, and Terry Parsons-Dobney, we've been able to do that.
Thank you. Tammy Lynn, you can take a breather here. This question is for Casey and Dave. Under your watch, we lost our hospital and the new University of Maryland Upper Chesapeake Medical Center to Aberdeen when you could not seal the deal. This is quoted from somebody who wrote it. We have now lost our #1 economic driver via the inability of our mayor and council to make a deal to save either the hospital or a new medical center. Other mayors and councils in the past put up a great fight to keep our hospital. When you could not make a deal to save something as important as our community's lives and our hospital, why should we reward you with a position at the table?
So when the hospital was changing things up, what they wanted was they wanted the citizens of Havre de Grace to pay for the water connection for them going up the hill. And at the time, we didn't have the money. And we, the city of Havre de Grace, the city council, said to the hospital, I'm sorry, you are the developer of this. You're responsible for it. Anybody who connects in, whether future development, will pay you to get back. They really didn't like that answer. And we stuck to our ground and said, no, it's not fair for the citizens of Havre de Grace to pay for a resource that's a regional resource. We need help. We can't do it all ourselves. We are a town of 15,000 people. And they had an out. And the out was that they could put a freestanding medical facility, and they chose to do that out. They could have done the freestanding medical facility at the same location, but if they chose an easier route that was already in existence, well, with all the pipe, water, et cetera, in Aberdeen, on paper, that makes sense. And it makes sense for us as the users of that, because the extra cost it would have been for them to go to that facility up on the hill would have been in all of our medical costs. So in the end, it really was the best solution for them. Now, is it a hospital? No, it's absolutely not a hospital. It is a freestanding medical facility, and the county, Harford County, needs 2 full hospital facilities. The continuing amount of backup, either at Aberdeen or at Bel Air, is crazy. The amount of people that have to sit waiting either for a bed in the hallway, it's just absolutely crazy. And it's all based off how they make money off of us.
Many people feel that when it came to the closure of the hospital, we did nothing. Nothing to be further from the truth. Not only did I attend every forum that Lyle Shellman, CEO of Upper Chesapeake, held, on behalf of the community, I went toe-to-toe with Lyle on numerous issues. We sent out countless correspondence to the Maryland Health Care Commission asking for their support. I solicited support from county and state officials, but the only one that truly joined us in the fight was Barry Santi. The mayor reached out to the governor on numerous occasions, asking for 5 minutes of his time to talk about the issue. Never got a call. When it was Harvard Memorial Hospital, we had support from local doctors, like Dr. Hirsch. But when it became Upper Chesapeake, it appeared that all the doctors were only gagging. We met with the board of Upper Chesapeake on repurposing the hospital, and President Dr. Snyder, who was president of the board, told us we had his full support. It was only days later, he was relieved of his duties as board president. You have to ask yourself the question, why was everybody outside of Havre de Grace silent on the issue? The bottom line, we were facing a no-win situation.
Thank you. I just want to take a minute and acknowledge how difficult it is to answer some of these complex questions in 1 minute. So I give all of you credit. You guys have the hard job. My job is easy. I just have to ask the question. So we're going to continue on. Kirk, we're going to pick up with you. This is for everybody.
Yay, go team.
What's that?
I said, go team.
Yeah. Please describe 2 elements of the Havre de Grace comprehensive plan that are most important to you and how you would ensure that they are implemented in practice.
Tree safety, especially around older homes and newer developments. I'd also like to focus on code enforcement and getting our existing structures safe or safe.
So I did a lot of work on the comprehensive plan, and elements in there that I made sure were strong in there was focusing on our infrastructure, and the importance of not kicking the can down the road and making sure everything is put an emphasis on replenishing our infrastructure. And the other thing I really was important to me was talking about aging in place. And making sure that there was a thought that, when you put together a comprehensive plan, it's an idea. You're throwing an idea out there for something that is like either 10 or 20 years down the road. But unbelievably, the aging in place is something that we're going to see in the short term. So those.
I would say as a runner and person that wants my kids to be able to walk around safely and other kids and, be a truly walkable city, I'd say bike paths and walking trails and sidewalks are some of the biggest things that I saw in that comprehensive plan that I know I want to push for. Thank you.
I think the first thing that I would say is I want a major focus on zoning to make sure that we have the right things in place in the right areas of the city. For instance, take the hospital. The last thing you want to do is to downgrade the zoning for the hospital and have something that what I think is a cash cow of the city, Union Avenue, have something put there that you don't want there. The other thing is I agree with code enforcement. One of the things, if you come across a bridge at Revolution Street, you see Stanton Park on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, there's an old dilapidated trailer that's falling apart. Now, it doesn't belong to the city, it belongs to the county. One of my first rules of thumb is, if I'm elected, I'm going to meet with Jacob Bennett and get him to take that building down. If you don't want to come into Havre de Grace, which is, we're excited about it, it's the best bowl in America. And that's the first thing you see. I mean, it's got to come down. And it makes no sense that that building is still standing.
Okay, thank you. So the two elements of the comprehensive plan, one would be our water resources protection, which is chapter 8. I would continue the initiative that President Rainsaker, Councilman Ellis, and Councilman Boker started, $50,000 to buy land for flood mitigation, creating wetlands for Wood Lily Run. It matches the MS4 grant that the county buys from us. It's a state program. Also, the second would be chapter 13, housing. I would reuse new zoning to make Hartford Memorial buildable for the $500,000 per unit, 55 plus housing that's going in there. We also need to use zoning for such as like Tranquility Place, so we can build houses that regular people can afford. We now have 390 units of affordable housing in Havre de Grace, and we can do better.
The comprehensive plan, 2 key issues that I see as very, very important is number 1, our water resources, the essence of life here and what we need to maintain. And how we go about maintaining that is providing salaries that will encourage workers to want to stay on, be trained, and have that longevity in our water system for both in the treatment and production to help us secure that these trained individuals will stay in our city. And secondly, public safety. That too is vital to keep longevity in our officers. We get cadets that come in, they are trained, they work with us a few years, and then they see higher dollar signs in other cities. Even though this is the safest city to work, they are motivated by having to take care of their family. So providing money that's going to increase their value as a employee and feel that they're want to stick around, and also our budget's going to allow for that and encourage it. So that is definitely part of the comprehensive plan, those two issues that are important to our 10-year projected comprehensive plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Casey, we're back to starting up with you. The gateway area that welcomes people to our city at the I-95 Woolly Rock Parkway intersection on 55 should be developed, this one writes, in a way that will maintain the beauty and historical significance of the landscape and highlight our city's proud place at the head of the Chesapeake Bay. As a member of City Council, how would you ensure that the development of this area is in line with the 2025 Envision Having Grace Comprehensive Plan?
So in our role on council, we have a couple of resources available to us. Again, come back to the charrettes all the time. Charrettes would be a great opportunity and funding for charrettes to get the community to discuss or start airing what they would like to see. That's number one. Second from there would be the zoning, because the zoning up on the what was considered the hospital property might need some tweaking in order to be able to meet the needs of whatever the community identifies. But the biggest thing that we do on council, I think passing legislation or working with the administration, but we also have a great way of leveraging our relationships with our state and federal colleagues. And that intersection as a whole needs a lot of redevelopment done to it. And it's going to be a lot of money, and we're gonna have to work with State Highway and do major improvements to that intersection in order to, it's a problem now. We gotta fix it now. That's an infrastructure thing that needs to be fixed. Thank you.
I would say step one is start with the zoning. We do want to make sure that the first thing that we see when we come off of the road into our city is our city. We want to look at that. We want to make sure that tourists are seeing that and getting, the feel of that. So the zoning, I think, is step one, making sure that it's not going to become some kind of eyesore or Buc-ee's or something. I mean, we love Buc-ee's, but nothing that's going to bring us into that error. And then from there, I think we look at traffic studies, see what we can handle in that area, see what type of development is even fitting for the zoning for that. If we can't handle something large to pull a lot of people off, then we don't put that there. I do think that the zoning, or the traffic study will help fill the zoning questions for that.
I'd like to see a conference center hotel for Happy Grace. We keep saying that we're the wedding capital of the world, and we have weddings in multiple areas. But we don't have a hotel that could house out-of-town guests to the Happy Grace area. We always have to send them out to Aberdeen. So if we're going to build a hotel, we might as well build a conference center too, so that that'll bring people into the city, but then the city can come downtown and help the businesses downtown, help the businesses grow and become vibrant in that area. So I've always said that I wanted a conference center for Happy Grace. Unfortunately, we haven't got there yet. So that would be one thing I'd want to place.
Okay, thank you. So, one thing we always run into with questions like this, we're gonna run into with Evonik, we ran into it with the hospitals. This is private property. Somebody else owns it, and, the city just can't decide what's going to happen with it. We do have a powerful hammer with zoning, but there are restrictions on that. We need to, so we need to decide as a city government what direction we would take. The Bully Rock community certainly would be concerned about whatever is going on out there. We need to make our decision based on the resources we have to support it and smart balanced growth. What I would say is we would, we want to pursue commercial property up there, we get our economic development department involved in that and seeing what we can talk to UMS about. If we want to do land preservation, we can seek out Hartford Land Trust, Hartford Agricultural Land Preservation Program, the Maryland Agricultural Land Preservation Foundation. We want housing up there. So we as a city would have to make a decision about where we're going to go and then apply the right resources to try to accomplish that goal.
The gateway into Havre de Grace comes from two directions, the 155 and the 40. So we have to consider Hartford County owns a portion of that land and we do not have jurisdiction over it. And also the State Highway Association has jurisdiction over the streets. So we have to learn to, or continue to partner with Hartford County and the State Highway Association to meet the needs that we are trying to accomplish. Number one, cleaning up, definitely. If there could be a way to work with the Hartford County district to, as Mr. Glenn had mentioned, cleaning up things that need to go. Work with them and, have an incentive to get things cleaned up. State Highway, again, continuing to communicate with them and listen to what they have to suggest and work together with our studies and offer for the cleanup that is in the city, code enforcement and or an incentive to clean up areas that are a little bit run down. It might help those owners of that land that's connected to the city to want to clean up our gateway. As for going up the I-55, we'll talk again.
Can I get you to repeat that question, Dr. Jaffe, because I'm a little confused as the exact location that you're referencing.
Gateway area that welcomes people to our city at the I-95 Bully Rock Parkway intersection with 155 should be developed in a way.
I'm good. That's all I
You got
got. Yes, sir. Well, I certainly wouldn't make it a roundabout, that'd just make it worse. However, if I had my druthers, if it wasn't private land, and maybe if we actually get the 5 to 6 acres of park, maybe we could do something that would benefit history in a art fresco relief of everything that covers us on one panel from Hamerstown to Havre de Grace, the War of 1812, the sacrifices this community has made from being downriver on the Susquehanna and Chesapeake Bay. Our watermen do it all.
Thank you. This, we're starting with you. There's already been mention of the Star Center, but let's dig deep here. The citizen writes, we all like the Star Center and what it presents, but it's apparent the city has no business being in the entertainment industry. The Star Center is on pace to lose $700,000 again. What would you plan on doing to stop this bleeding of our tax dollars?
Okay, so the Star Center was started as a 5-year plan, and I believe from the last time I looked at it, and I spoke with the mayor about this, I believe we're on par for that. So we're working towards that, and just like starting any business, you always kind of start in the hole, and you have to recover from that. I do think that some of the things that they're bringing in just get better and better, which means the income and the revenue is going to continue to get better and better. I do think there are things that we've just talked about tonight that could be ideas and suggestions. Having, sporting events for the kids that can bring some revenue in here. Again, I have children that play sports. Going to a basketball tournament where you're hosting, 15 teams, you're teams are paying $575, like, per team to play in a tournament. Things like that can bring revenue in. I think we're on par for increasing, or fitting into that 5-year plan. The other thing is the Star Center is in the process of getting a grant, or the city's in the process of getting a grant for the Star Center for the solar plant panels. And that in itself is gonna save over $100,000 a year for the Star Center's cost. So that's gonna help tremendously and put us way above what that would look like in a 5-year plan. Thank you.
Good point was made about the solar panels. We're gonna get possibly solar panels on top of it and bring the cost of operating the Star Center way down. You gotta understand that we're kind of in the infancy stages of the Star Center, so what they're learning is what projects work, what programs work, and which don't. So you capitalize on your successes and you eliminate your failures. But the one thing that I can't take credit for, I have to give credit to my wife, but she said, what we need is a marquee outside. Not everybody is on social media. And so if we had a marquee, say, coming events, we had a marquee outside, we might draw more people to these events. I mean, I've been to numerous events that were great, but they were only half filled. Maybe a marquee would be the cash cow to bring people in.
Can you give me the question again, please?
Sure. We all like the Star Center and paraphrase and what it represents, but it's bleeding money. It's bleeding another $700,000 again this year. What would you do to stop this bleeding of tax dollars?
Thank you. And one other part of that question was, it said the city should not be in the entertainment business. The Star Center is not really the entertainment business. It's a draw for the city. So I disagree with the other premise of the question. But I do agree that we need to find efficiencies at the Star Center. I think we should start an enterprise fund for the Star Center. It is a business. We're running it as a business. That will help us to identify both the benefits and the gaps, the vulnerabilities in it as a business, and we can address those. We may still have to bolster River City funds, but again, it's more than the money coming in and out of this place. It's what else is bringing into the town. We should look at efficiency. We should RFP the contract for concessions. We should RFP the publicity contract. We should give Bambi some help in getting her job done. Thank you.
Our Star Center has grown over the last few years in its expectations to the city, to the citizens, to the families that send their children to camp, to the community. We have a lot of events here, and the best way for us to continue to invest in the Star Center is to have more musical events come in, we're on the 95 and the 40, and we have big bands come through. And if they know about the Star Center, they might just want to stop on the way to Philly, or from Philly on the way to Baltimore for a concert here in Happy Grace. And I think that, we have received a lot of grants, and I think that we are going upward in our support in helping create the Star Center and have a foundation. And I think with the solar panels coming in, as others have mentioned, that's going to cut down some of the costs. So I think we just need to still believe in what we have created. We're all sitting here right now in this beautiful venue. And I think that over time, we will be able to eventually have the Star Center become an enterprise. But at this time, I think that helping to support.
Very good at stopping on the beat. I have to commend you, Tammy. Eric.
Manager Tammy, well done. For one, it can't be an enterprise fund right now. It's not profitable. Been mentioned. I'm not going to keep beating away on solar. Everybody seems to be on the solar bandwagon. Thank you all. We do need more events here. I want to point out with the solar, we'll also be charging our electric trolleys with the solar from this building. I believe that we're on the right track. We got new seating. It's more comfortable than the seating in the city council chamber. I swear, I've been there many, many times. I've seen it. They have to stand up and walk around because those chairs are just uncomfortable. There might be a reason for that. I'm just not saying.
Casey?
First and foremost, I'm a strong supporter of making the Star Center an enterprise fund. And I think we are on the brink of it being able to do that. I remember just maybe 2 years ago, Jason Robertson bringing up the point that you need to get more nationally known acts in. And I will say that the staff at the Star Center has been very responsive to that. You can see as you're walking up and down that aisle, so your way out, you'll see that they are attempting to try to get more national acts. But the fact is, this little city is not going to be able to pay for everything in this, for this building. We need to have more of a regional support for this. And that does take marketing dollars to do it, and that's where the focus needs to be. But it really does need to become an enterprise fund. It needs to stand on its own. It's a bit complicated because there's a lot more here than just what you see with the stage and, the auditorium. There's offices in here. We charge the trolleys here. So we've been using it for a variety of things, and they are being very innovative with it. But we are at the brink now that we really need it to sustain itself, because there's other things we need to do in our city.
Thank you. Let's talk a little bit more about transparency. Liz, you mentioned this in one of your comments earlier, and Dave, you also mentioned a whole impressive slew of organizations that you belong to here in town. And you're not alone, of course. Heaven of Grace is a small community where many residents are involved in multiple organizations, in city roles, local nonprofits, and civic groups. At times, the public may perceive conflicts of interest or a lack of transparency due to these overlapping group dynamics, whether or not any actual influence exists. How would you, as an elected official, address the community's concerns about transparency and public trust?
I don't see where the issue comes up that there's a conflict of interest. The organizations that I belong to, like the SAL, the Sonic Lodge, Elks, High Grace United Methodist Church, all do positive things for this community. I gotta say that I give kudos to the American Legion because they are really stepping up in a big way and bringing different events in that everybody can get involved. I think that somebody would say that it's a conflict of interest, then they're not educated what these organizations are doing. And I think it's just, they get the advertising out. I know Jason Robinson, the commander of the American Legion, does a great job with social media and getting information out of what they're doing. Doing a lot of positive things for this community, and he encourages everybody to come out and visit the Legion. So a lot of positive things for Haggard's in that venue.
Thank you. George, before we go on, I just want to emphasize, this isn't about, the essence of the question isn't about what the organizations do, because they all do wonderful things, but it's really about the perceived conflict of interest. How do you, as a council member, orchestrate that so that the public feels that there is no conflict of interest, that there is full transparency?
So without transparency, we don't have public trust, and without public trust, we can't govern. I learned as a U.S. Army officer that perception is reality, and we can do better as elected officials. The appearance of favoritism erodes public trust, regardless of whether such favoritism exists. Personally, I would accept no emoluments as a council person. There have already been well-meaning offers to me as a candidate, which I declined. I would make sure my appearance matched my reality. The other way to address this is to reach out and create opportunities for involvement in city government and community organizations. The same civic organizations we support with our budget should be represented on our commissions. Our commissions should be well publicized, and citizens who apply should be welcome. It should not be a closed club and needs to represent a diverse variety of our neighborhoods and our demographics.
Thank you, Tammy.
When it comes to transparency and public trust, the beginning is to inform the public of what's going on. information regarding what organizations do, how they work, how they operate, and have that public trust be a part of something that they see happening and being actively involved. If the perception is that, one group is doing something that they don't see as, fitting in the eyes, it's best to come forward and talk to the individuals that are a part of that group to find out what can be done. I highly believe in everyone being able to be informed one way or the other. We have information online, not everybody goes online, but also communicating to people in public and in a public forum, and just making sure.
Everybody gets 3 minutes. If they have a question, feel free to ask it. 3. That's what you get to address the council. Not the directors, not the administrators, not even the mayor, the council. I plan on being fully transparent. This is who I am. I'm going to go with that every time. If there is a problem, I'm going to talk to the people directly. I'm going to say it. This is a problem. However, if I'm elected, I'm also voting. I'm not stepping back. We'll let the city attorney decide.
So the issue of transparency and ethics has been an issue that we've been really working with on our council, I would say, for this past year. And my biggest takeaway is it's just important to put the conflict out into the open. We're a small council. There's only 6 members on council and a mayor. So if one of us stands back or one of us doesn't include ourselves in the conversation, there's a problem because there's a hole there. There's a perspective that's being lost. To overcompensate for that, we just need to be transparent about it. Brendan?
I'm not pulling you off. You done?
Perfect. That's it. We just need to be transparent about it. And the other thing you also need to know, at no time will you see, or should you see, 3 members, elected members of the city council, more than 3 members together in a meeting. And again, that's a transparency issue because that would create a quorum. And that's not allowed by the Open Meetings Act. And it's something that we take very seriously. When we are preparing for the meeting ahead of time, we make sure there's no more than 3 of us in a room.
Except when I'm singing at the farmer's market, and then you're all welcome to gather. That's-
So conflict of interest and transparency. So I would say the biggest thing is, I'll use myself as an example. So most of you probably know I am married to a police officer here in town. So I do strongly believe that our police for the last few years have been underpaid in the, in the state. They're one of the lower paid entities. Over the last few years, the mayor has increased their pay in the budget. Not because somebody is married to somebody that needs it or whatever, it's because they're deserving of that. So I think there's a big difference in being transparent and saying, I'm married to a police officer, give her more money so that it comes to my house, so to speak, if I was on council, and saying, this is what the reason this is needed for. Again, in a situation to that effect, I would absolutely remove myself from voting on anything that would benefit that entity because it would be a conflict of interest. And while it still would be okay per ethics, it just perceives that it's wrong. And perception will kill everything, even unintendedly.
Thank you. George, a lot of effort and resources go into events like First Fridays and various weekend festivals. Do you think there may be a time when there's a point of diminishing returns for the city? If so, what would that look like? If not, why should I as a taxpayer be paying for events that aren't a net benefit?
Okay, thank you for that question. So, first of all, we should be welcoming events that also generate revenue for the city. That used to happen with the Seafood Fest, which was controversial for other reasons, and we didn't make money because of our arrangement there. But we certainly could ensure that we benefit from the festivals directly, and also talking to one one of the citizens in Chesapeake Drive yesterday, they missed festivals for their kids, they missed the farm. So we should be bringing those back. And I would say as a taxpayer, you're not paying for them if we design it right. It's bringing people into town, it's generating revenue. Upper Chesapeake Bay Pride, the Pirates Festival, Decoy Festival, the Month of the Military Family just getting started. We can make those events much bigger and bring people into town. If we get overnight events, we can get some of the county hotel tax revenue coming back to our town also. So they could be net revenue generators if we decide to put the effort into it. Thank you.
Events here in Haverty Grace, yes, there are many, and many are free to the public, which is beautiful. We have First Fridays, we have fireworks, we have parades, we have events in the community. For instance, we have Defenders Day coming up, and we have an event at the Moore Family Homestead that's going to represent history from that area. We have a duck decoy museum. All these things are happening this weekend, but we have events all throughout the city. And yes, our some of the events we have to pay for advertising, and sometimes having the police come in and monitor some of the groups, etc. But overall, these events create a wide open, vast opportunity for our citizens that aren't necessarily paying taxes. Some of them are renters. They have an opportunity to enjoy our city. Thank you.
I think the city's involvement with many of the organizations, everything from Pride Fest, Joe Retro, getting out there, Pirates Festival, Lock House Beer and Wine Festival, good thing. I don't think the city should step back from that. I do believe that we should increase, actually, I think we already have. We've increased our Shop Local campaigns. We need to be able to draw people either via radio. We have a captive audience on 40, not our fault that the bridges block out, and 95. Maybe we could get a short wave radio system that just sets up and beams right to them and tell them, come on down to Haverty Grace. Discover your Maryland in Haverty Grace.
Thank you.
So I think we're all saying basically the same thing. The amount of city-run events, I think, is slowly decreasing, and what we're seeing is more other organizations increasing the amount of events. And we've already heard what's going to happen this weekend. The following weekend, I keep these things on my calendar because it's just overwhelming. We have the Mother's Day Market, that's done by the downtown businesses. We have the book fair, again, the downtown businesses are running that. We have the Lock House Beer and Wine Festival, Lock House is going to be doing that. We have the Roper's Romp, and that is just something superior, all above all of that. And yeah, the farmer's market that'll be going on that day, as well as the citywide cleanup. We are in a city of multiple things happening all at the same time, and that energy is what makes it fun to live here, and we need to continue that going. I don't think we need to add on to the list of cities' organized festivals, but I think we need to support our organizations when they have a good idea, they want to have an event, whether it be a Mother's Day Mark downtown or the Pirates Fest. We need to support them in that, and it's part of the great thing about living in a city. We don't have to do it all. There's others that are stepping up, and we should keep it going.
Okay, so I do believe, I'm going to kind of piggyback off of George, I do believe that these events, whether they're run by the city or whether they're run by, another agency or organization, I do think they bring revenue into our city. So it may not directly impact our tax dollars, but it is directly impacting our city and the betterment of our city. Also in that, I think we have some amazing opportunities that we can do to increase some of the revenue that may come back in directly to our city. For example, the Susquehanna Running Festival, they tend to pay for the police officers. So then that's not a city paid expense for that. And we do have a lot of officers out there for that. I think if we ran some of our functions that are partnered with the organizations in a manner like that, where there is some of that revenue back, then that would help offset some of that cost. Thank you.
Even First Fridays is a big event for Happy Grace. And, but it's also a big event for our businesses downtown, because it gives them a chance to generate revenue, that maybe they normally wouldn't get if we didn't have a big event like that. But one other thing it does is, I've heard numerous people say that they come to events at Happy Grace, and they enjoyed it so much, they ended up buying a house here. So it helps their tax revenue, you know, and, it was amazing to hear that from those people. And, I gotta say, with the crowd we're getting from the festivals and the First Fridays, it's gotta be creating revenue across the board for somebody. And, the only time that I would be concerned is if the organizers of the event were generating revenue that they benefit personally. And if that takes place, we need to get them to open their books so we can find out where that money's going.
Thank you. This next question is for those of you who have not been on council before. So we're going to start with Kirk and then Liz and George. Being a council person is a big time commitment. Talk about how you will give the job the requisite time resources from your busy life.
I wake up at 4:45 every morning. There's no change. It's been that way since 1982. I take a shower, I check my garden, I walk my dog, I eat some toast, I drink about 3 cups of coffee, I head to work. At the end of that, I come back. Currently, because it's morale season, I spend a lot of times in the wood. Don't need to do that if I find morels early enough. And I just happen to know a local area, so I can minimize that time. So I'm gonna have plenty of time to work on council projects, even though I'm fully employed and helping the warfighter.
Thank you.
I think it just comes down to prioritization. So if it's something that you see fit and you see that the desire that you want to do it, which I would hope that's why we're all up here and that's why the current council members are there. It's a priority. It's something that we see a need in. We want to, and I know I want to put my time and effort and roll my sleeves up and make this city 1,000 times better than it already is and keep on the momentum that we're currently on. And I think that it just becomes a priority that you reprioritize what's important in your life. And for me, being a voice and conduit for the citizens here in the city is an important thing to me.
One of my skills is looking at systems and finding gaps and efficiencies, so I'll be applying those skills to myself. My daughter's getting married Sunday, so I'll have that out of the way, and there's still managed running campaign during this. I sponsor, and I've thought hard about this, I sponsor 2 after-school clubs at my school. I'm paid for that as volunteer. I'll have to step away from that, but I've arranged for a succession of other teachers to step into their shoes, and I'll still be there to help them during the day. I'm on water and sewer. I won't be able to serve on water and sewer anymore, although based on my committee assignments, that time would be looked over that. I'm on the Havertide Grace Public Housing Authority Board. I by our board rules, I will have to resign that position, so I will have some time coming back. And as my wife can attest, our Google Calendar is pretty much how we live our lives, and it's not so much the available time as organizing it. And I get up at 4:15 every morning, and I run a lap around Havertide Grace at 5 a.m.
A lot of TMI happening up here tonight. Thank you, candidates. We're gonna go, Tammy Lynn, since we skipped over you there, we're gonna pick up with you on this one, circle around. Traffic has been increased exponentially with the continued development of residential subdivisions off Chapel Road and Bully Rock Parkway. Over 475 additional housing units are expected to be built up on the hill in coming years. What should our elected leaders and city administration do to ensure that our streets and infrastructure, our water, our sewer, our roads, our schools, can support this type of growth?
As elected officials, we should make sure that we are managing our infrastructure. If it's time to build schools because we have outgrown, then we need to work together with our Hartford County to get in touch with, that is a vital need. If we need to work together with the state highway administration, as we currently are, we need to continue to help that healthy relationship so that we can continue to increase the amount of space that we have to ride on the roads. We need to work together with all the stakeholders involved. We need to make sure that the contractors, if they say they're going to put a road in, that they're doing that. And just continue to follow our zoning and policies and, hold everybody accountable for following through on what they say they're going to do when it comes to creating a safe community to live in and, to make sure that we are getting the hookups and the funding for from the new housing into our city budget so that we can, use those resources to help, offset things that we need to do as a city to increase the traffic patterns, et cetera. Thank you.
Kirk,
475 times 2 is 950. Throwing an extra half in there, you get 1425. I'm assuming that the other half would be a motorcycle, 2 wheels. There's a lot of development up there. There's also a promise of roads. However, there's also been some slight, at a council meeting, I overheard that there might be an issue with one of the developments and the roads leading to the residences. And I am not privy as to what's exactly going on because I'm just a resident right now. However, I think the city does need to hold developers accountable, and more than just for roads.
Jason.
So there's so many ways to answer this question. So one of the things that, the most important, 3 things that the city has to provide to keep you safe. Number 1, clean drinking water. With the increase of population, one of the things that we're going to have is we're going to have some impact on our water pressure. In the budget for this year is another water tower to try to address that issue. A benefit for the development of the Legacies property is that it'll complete the loop. So we won't have a stoppage in water kind of at Monarchos Drive, and we won't have to flush out as much. We'll have a complete loop going. So that's a benefit of that. Making sure that your toilets flush, major thing that we do. Infrastructure fixes, lining the pipes that we currently have are things that we have in our budget and that we've been working on for the past couple of years. The third is public safety, making sure that we have the right equipment to respond when you need it. We have an amazing fire department that within 2 minutes is out on the road. We need to make sure that their vehicles are the right vehicle for the right place. If we have 4-story condos, then we need to make sure that there's a ladder truck at that fire department that'll go all that way up. These are all things that are part of the infrastructure plans and things that we have in our budget and that we need to plan for in the future.
So first of all, I just want to say, how great is it that we have such this amazing city and that we've gotten to this point that so many people want to move here and bring their tax dollars here, because that's what it would ultimately come down to. While it would put, a strain on some of the resources we currently have, I know we have plenty of partnerships and external resources that we can tap into for that. Our water and sewer group, they are amazing. So water and sewer, while it is a high and heavy topic, I know that the people that work there, that the city has entrusted and keep working with are some of the most amazing groups of people that is not a concern in my personal opinion. They know what they're doing. Traffic studies are a big thing because that is the safety. Making sure that our emergency vehicles can get to each home. making sure that if there is an emergency somewhere, that it's not just a one-way in place and a one-way out. Making sure that there is access everywhere, making sure that a large fire truck can reach there sometime. Oh, is that my time? Okay.
Evergrace is unique because we got city roads, county roads, and state roads. Of which state roads and county roads, we don't control. I'll give you an example. We had major traffic going over the Hayden Bridge, and it was like gridlock. So when I was on council, I wrote a letter to the governor and said, can we give the discount for the tolls that we give for the Hayden Bridge to the 95 bridge? Because what happens is people are going off 95, coming down, going across, and going back to 95. I said, we would eliminate that. They wouldn't buy it. So we can't do that. I had state people come out when we were at the old 7-Eleven, which is down Gavin House, and they saw the gridlock, and he said, man, you got a problem, you gotta fix it. I can't fix it. It's your road, it ain't my road. You gotta fix it. So that's a problem in itself. When it comes to developments, you gotta make sure that the roads are the right roadway. It gotta be 36 feet. I live in Grace Manor and it's 30 feet, and at times it's a challenge. Cars parked on both sides of the road. But now, 36 feet is holding true.
Thank you, Dan. George?
Okay, thank you. First, I want to recognize the mayor for designating $1 million for infrastructure. I would say we need to bring in our stakeholders here. We need to bring Chief Hurst of the hose company. We need to bring in the Street and Safety Commission, the Planning Commission, the Department of Public Works Committee, the Planning Committee, and the Public Safety Committee. But more importantly, besides these committees that have citizen involvement, tying this together at the heart and soul of our city are our non-elected people who run our city. They are good and accomplish the mission given to them by mayor and council. They do this often and they do it well. Using the comprehensive plan as a guide, we can avoid public safety risks like we're now having at Greenway Farms and make sure they don't occur, and we need to fix the one at Greenway Farms too. Thank you.
Thank you. George, did I hear you correctly a while ago mention Lily Run?
Yes, sir.
I thought so. It sounds a little funny up here. So every year, for those of you who've been around, you know there's always a Lily Run question because OPAC genesis is in the northern end of town where the wrath of overflowing Lily Run really hits without mercy. I'm letting you all off the hook this year. There's no Lily Run question. But I'm going to take the prerogative of sharing a Lily Run statement from one of our northern Havre de Grace residents. As a resident of the Lily Run floodplain for over 39 years, I've experienced multiple flooding incidents and property damage. In my effort to understand the root causes of this issue, I've walked the entire length of the stream, participated in the 2005 and 6 task force, and recently reviewed every study conducted on the problem from 1986 to the present. All study conclusions were basically the same: not enough culvert capacity for flood level flows. Suggested improvements varied. My review confirms that not one significant recommendation from any of these reports has ever been implemented. Consequently, rather than submitting a question for the candidates, she has a request. Please stop wasting taxpayer money on further studies. It has become clear that Havre de Grace lacks the funding and the political will to address this problem effectively. And I'm just going to let that hang out there. You can respond, and of course, if this is factually inaccurate, please do respond. But I am going to jump into another question right now, so hold that. Let's move to Amtrak, in case you were going to start with you. The upcoming Amtrak bridge and track construction will have significant implications for the city, including traffic volume, detours, noise, and complications. This effort will affect access to commerce and schools and impact our environmental protection. What strategies would you recommend be implemented to manage the detours and effectively address the concerns of constituents during what sounds like it's going to be about a 10-year period?
It's a I've heard 10 to 11 years and $2 billion effort. And I think there's three things. First is communication. It's really important for the city administration to communicate repeatedly, very openly with Amtrak, to have a better idea of what they need so that we can make a flow of information. It's going to need coordination because they're going to need it coordinated top to bottom, meaning everybody within our city should have information about what's happening and when it's going to happen, because that'll help us plan. But then it's also going to take patience, and that's really all on top of us. This is a project that must be done. It's a bridge that has to be replaced. It's a major economic and transportation hub for our country. And I'm seeing him move his hand over here. For our country, and we are an active participant in it. So communication, coordination, and patience is what's required in this situation. Thank you.
Transparency. I think transparency will answer a lot of the problems. I think if we are finding ways, and that looks different everywhere, because I think we've talked about it multiple times tonight, not everyone's on the internet. Not everyone has access to the internet. But I think we could use possibly a partnership with maybe our school to build a portal on the website that is, come here and find everything you need. This is where you can maybe even submit a work order, because there will be, more traffic in one area at one point in time and less traffic in another area. So is everyone going to know that pothole exists? Maybe not. So having some way to reach out and allow the citizens to give that feedback specific to the Amtrak project and the pain that they're experiencing with it. I think being transparent with each phase of it and how it's going, and having, those rolling marks on the website that says, okay, for more information about today's information, here it is. For more information about what's going to happen next week, here it is. That type of stuff. And again, for those that are not, on the internet, a newsletter. If we're putting the information out there, it's easy to put it on a piece of paper and mail it out. You can sign up for a mailing list, things to that nature. And then I think using the funds that Amtrak's going to give us to benefit our city even more. Finish the downtown project, provide something for our kids, skate park, splash park, any of those kind of things I think would be beneficial.
This is a big government contract, and one of the key things is we gotta have the right negotiation skills throughout all of this. For instance, when Amtrak comes in, they're gonna take some of the city property. If you look at King Roberts Park, it's pretty much gone. They're also gonna need space to park trucks and equipment. We need a right advocate and a right point man to negotiate with Amtrak and negotiate with government and say, what's in it for having? What are you gonna do for us? We need something in return. That's one thing that I will make sure that we do, watch out for our citizens. Make sure that we don't get the short end of the stick.
Okay.
Excellent, thank you. Things we need here is we need to have and I know an elephant was designed by a committee, but I believe in the power of people who come together and solve problems. I think we need a committee, a task force that addresses business and community concerns, including a downtown revitalization subcommittee, a community impact subcommittee, and make recommendations to the council. I can't emphasize enough again, we need experienced people on our commissions. And I talked about water and sewer, but Dan Lucinich, Rodney Swan, and Fred Willis are just brilliant at what they do. And we have many people in this town who are brilliant at things like city planning and traffic, and we need to identify them, we need to reach out and welcome them and get them on these committees to help us.
Amtrak, the bridge, the traffic, what strategies would I recommend? The first strategy I recommend is already been mentioned, communication. However, it's not going to go away. We must communicate with all stakeholders. We must communicate with the school districts, with Amtrak, with our city, with our DPW. We have to have a plan in mind, and we have to communicate if there's going to be road closures. And we do have a system in place now that you can get a call. You just have to register for it so that the communication is open. It can also be listed on our website. So there's ways of communicating other than just online. Also, I think it would be great with that communication to have a carpool system. I know that there's a lot of people that go to APG. Perhaps a group of folks could, maybe park at the Star Center and drive into work, and possibly.
Did you cut her off or? Just making sure. We're gonna take a look around you. 720 seats. We have the ultimate town hall forum in Hartford County. Once a quarter, I'm proposing that we have a briefing from federal, state, county, local officials, and Amtrak on what the status is, how the budget funding's going, where the pylons are going down, any economical, physical, or environmental concerns that may have come up. We have to remember, this area was once in the Ordovician era, volcanic island. We live on top of granite called gneiss. Not too worried about them not having enough bedrock, but I am worried about things falling over. Is that you, or was that somebody's something? Sorry. Emergency response needs to be constantly in the loop. We need to be conducting daily briefings with the police, fire, EMS as to what's open, what is shut down, et cetera, and the alternatives. That's it. Thanks,
Thank you,
Doctor.
Kurt. So, in the interest of time, I promise we will get out of here at 8:30 as we always do. So I am going to pull some of these other excellent questions and we're going to move to closing statements here. Kurt?
Really nice. They sent the
I'm not going
questions
to do
out.
it though. Whatever they did, I'm not going to do it.
Come on, Doc. They sent out the
You're
questions
talking
to
about
everybody
lightning
on
rounds or
the side.
something?
Can we get the list of questions at least?
Oh, I'm going to give, first of all, I'm going to mention a couple other things that are here, yes. That's just where I was going, Kurt.
Sorry.
Here are some of the things that we are not covering that are in my list here. And feel free to put these into your closing comments. There are other detailed questions about budget, about the property tax rate, whether we should drop it. Questions about industry and Clark Road. There's been a lot of talk about tourism and residential growth, but what about other kinds of economic development? Should we be pursuing commercial, industrial, medical, educational types of growth? Questions about demolition and health risks, particularly with Hartford Memorial Hospital and all of the asbestos therein coming down. What should the city's role be in that? Dilapidated properties. What should be done about dilapidated properties? How can you help to clean that issue up? Okay, and more about downtown. There's a lot more, and what I'm going to do, the mayor has actually expressed interest in seeing the questions for his own edification. I'm going to strip all personal information from all of these questions, and as I send them to the mayor, I will also send them to all of you up here on the dais so you can see the full load of 130 plus questions that came in and really get a sense for what citizens have been writing in about. Very quickly, Kurt.
The other 3 council members who are currently not up here?
If they want them, they can reach out for me. They can reach out to me. I'll be happy to send them as well. Okay, so we're up to closing statements. 2 minutes. I know some of you have something to say about my Lily Run comment. Feel free. I think we're back to you. No, we're at Liz to start, and then we will wrap up the case. So Liz, take it away. You have 2 minutes.
Sounds great. As I close tonight, I want to thank each of you for taking your time to be here or watch this at home, for listening and caring so much about the future of this amazing city, Happy Grace. The city is more than just where we live. It's where we grow, where we raise families, and where we build a legacy. We've talked about so much tonight, but at the end of the day, a city is only as strong as the people who look out for one another. I've spent my life building those types of connections, whether I was leading soldiers in a war zone, managing a military-grade security system, or making sure every child in our basketball program feels like they have a place to belong. I believe in our youth. I respect our history. I will never stop fighting for safety and unity in our city. I don't pretend to have all the answers, but I promise I will always listen, I will always learn, and I will always lead with integrity and transparency. Above all, no one person has all the answers, but together through open dialogue and collaboration, we can make this city so much better than it already is. Businesses, city officials, seniors, youth, all play a vital role. I'm ready to roll up my sleeves and work with all of you to move Havre de Grace forward. I'm asking for your support, your trust, and most importantly, your vote. I'm asking for two of your three votes, one for myself and one for George Kasnick. You've seen us around town, you've seen us how we work well together. We've educated each other and we've learned from one another. On council, it takes 4 votes to get something done or not. You will be solidifying 2 of those votes by voting for both of us on May 5th, right here at the Star Center, from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. Vote for leadership that listens. Lastly, George and I have a meet and greet coming up this Saturday morning at Concord Point Coffee at 10:30, May 2nd. I hope we'll see you there. Please come out, learn more about us. We look forward to mingling with you and drinking some coffee with you and just having a good time. Thank you, and let's keep Havre de Grace moving forward together.
So why vote for Dave Blunt? I stand before you as a proud graduate of Havre de Grace High School with a strong commitment to this community. I am running because of my love for Havre de Grace, the city that I am so proud to call home. I recognize that if elected, it's not my seat, it's your seat. It belongs to you, the citizens of Havre de Grace. Therefore, I will solicit input, listen, and when it comes to making a decision, I will vote to do the right thing for all the right reasons. 3 key points that will posture me to serve on council. 1, I am a Havre de Grace warrior on a mission. I want to change the culture of politics. There's too much hatred and mudslinging at the county, state, and national level. I have always said there's no one smart as all of us. We as elected officials must all work together to do what's best for you, the constituents we serve. We can do that by addressing issues with honesty, integrity, and respect for others. It has to be a team effort, and I want to serve as the role model for others to follow. 2, Jimmy Ringsacker, as council president, is stepping off the dais to pursue other endeavors. I can help by filling that void and leading by example. My past experiences on city council could only help in this transition. You have my commitment that I will serve with patience, kindness, understanding, and compassion. And last but not least, I am officially retired. Therefore, I am available to address any questions and concerns you may have. Just reach out to me with an email or a text, and I'll try my best to get you a responsive answer. I feel my track record speaks for itself. Bottom line, I'm going to make a difference. People who care can and do make a difference, but I can only do that with your support. I hope to see you on election day. We're proud, Grace on top.
All right, Lily run first, so don't give up. Political will comes from votes. You need to vote and then make your voice heard that you did vote. Yeah, multi-million-dollar project is not going to happen, but we're already using MS4 funds to buy land and build wetlands to help with flood mitigation, and this is finally the start. My closing statement. I want to express my gratitude to OPAC and Dr. Jaffe for hosting another successful event. You've heard from us and have a difficult decision to make. All the candidates here want to serve and have Havre de Grace's best interests at heart. Your vote will decide what those best interests are and how you want that service to be accomplished. I'm dedicated to moving us forward with the next phase of downtown revitalization, growing the water plant to make an anchor of our budget, ensuring our residential development has a space for people of all incomes, keeping Havre de Grace a strong, diverse community it is. I will use my knowledge of economics, transportation, and government, combined with my mission focus to ensure that the decisions we make support a comprehensive plan. I will be an independent state building council. I will work with the mayor and for the mayor in guiding our city. I will collaborate with other council members. I will listen to you and represent you with vigor and integrity. I'm asking for your vote for Liz Clark and George Kasnick. We represent 2 of those 4 votes needed to make change. We have professional relationships with members of the current council. We have worked together on this campaign and worked together on council complementing each other's skills. With Clark and Kasnick, leadership that listens. Thank you.
Over the last 4 years, it has been an honor serving the citizens of Havertide Grace. It has been an incredible experience working on city council with my colleagues and administration to learn the laws that govern our city and creating legislation to make improvements that benefit our community. As council liaison, I have learned a great deal of information from the knowledgeable volunteers that serve on our commissions. At this time, I'm running for re-election to continue to serve the citizens of Havertide Grace by working toward maintaining and expanding infrastructure to manage our growing population, maintaining safe streets and traffic patterns as our cities expand, and sustaining the current upgrades and continued projects that will enhance the lives of our citizens. I, Tammy Lynn Shenagus, continue to share my vision and make it my goal as your elected official to help provide safety for all citizens, support for community education, outdoor recreation, cultural arts and entertainment, historic preservation, and economic growth. And lastly, sustainability for the present while working toward the future of Havertide Grace. As our evening is drawing to a close, it is my hope that this candidates forum has been insightful and giving you an opportunity to see the strengths that I bring to our city council. As I seek re-election, it would be an honor to receive your vote on May 5th, 2026.
When they go straight up, property taxes, your rate versus assessments. I think we're asking the wrong question. City's done pretty good on property tax rates. It's the assessments that's killing us. If you bought your house 20, 30 years ago, you might have spent $80,000, $90,000 for it, especially if it's a first-time home. Now it's worth $345,000. That's what the assessment is, and that's what you're paying property taxes on. That's the problem. That's above us. We need to work as a private and public entity to make sure that our senior people are not priced out of that. I want to go on a Lily run. I have kind of an issue with that statement, Doc. I was there when you were kayaking with Brenda, okay? I know that it floods. That's a tidal basin. It was actually cored out to take boats up and down the Susquehanna and Tidewater Canal. Okay, so it's gonna flood. That's what it does. However, this city, as just a resident and citizen, I know has done two private-public partnerships, and it hasn't failed on the public side of the city. It's failed on the private side to help fix Lily Run. We need to step up as citizens and do what's right and work together to support good plans to keep this place alive. Water, sewage, traffic control, yes. I moved here before this city became a city of 1,000 laws. That's kind of a big deal and maybe a little bit of a joke at the same time. But if we really want to support our brick and mortars, our local ranches and farms, we really need to cut the red tape. Now, the city has started working on that, but we can do more. If we get a small business administrator that can help these local ranches, local farmers, brick and mortar, mom and pop places, get through all the permits faster. They can be in here making money, selling product, and delivering goods. That's what I'm going to work on. Sitting at this table for me is one of the worst things that can happen. I like running for a candidate. I would make a great elected council member, but I am a person of action. I don't stop until the body tells me it's time to go to bed at 2,200 hours. Elect me, you'll see it too.
First, I want to thank the Jaffies for their continued dedication to this community. You are further proof that in Havertide Grace, it's not the buildings or the bay, but it's the people who make life here extra special. So thank you very much for being you. And speaking of people, it's been my honor to serve alongside these candidates. We as a community are truly blessed to have so many people who are willing to step forward and serve. It has been important to have it is important to have a city council filled with people who are thoughtful, empathetic, and willing to put in the hard work in order to get things done. While we all don't necessarily approach the issues from the same point of view, we are dedicated to the same outcome, and that is to make sure that our city is safe, accessible, and successful for all. Serving on city council has been a great honor. I have worked to advocate for several significant issues facing our community, including public safety and infrastructure issues. I've worked to make sure our city is actively making choices to protect our bay and work our new Lily Run. As your city council member, I have looked for ways to see beyond the barriers to help others succeed and forge successful partnerships, assisted community groups to attain their goals. All along the way, I've really enjoyed every moment of the experience. Happy Grace is a safe place to raise a family, a relaxing place to come home after work, and a fabulous place to live. Thank you for your support and your confidence in me. I would be greatly honored to serve you again on City Council. And for that, I ask your vote on May 5th. Thank you, and I hope you all have a great night.
Are we not blessed to be living in this city? Really. Every time Brenda and I do this for 20 whatever years, we go home so charged up because, it just reminds us of all the wonderful things about this place. And everybody up here is an embodiment of that. And I just don't think we can go wrong. Once again, we've got a panel here of 6 people. Vote for who's in your heart, but we've got an excellent city and excellent people who are stepping up, willing to do the hard work. I thank you. Brent thanks you, really, for being here. And I just want to compliment you all for handling some really tough questions tonight in 1 minute apiece. Kudos to you all. A little quick housekeeping. I want to thank my timekeeper, Brenda, up here, who does all the logistics for this so that it works seamlessly. And also shout out, thank you to Jimmy Burrell and Bob Denton back here who are handling the AV and the sound. A reminder that this is recorded, it's live now, and you can find it on the Habit Grace YouTube channel. Just Google Habit Grace YouTube or go to the city's webpage. Please tell your friends and family to do the same. And don't forget to vote on Tuesday, May 5th, right here at the Star Center, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And we look forward to seeing you all there. Everybody have a great night. Thanks again.